Alright, so I'm gonna do this morning because I'm led to. And I don't know what this is gonna be about really exactly, but grandfathers, that's my topic. And it's been really challenging for me to connect with grandfather energy, or grandfather that to imagine even a grandfather energy that is not sadomasochistic Christian. I call those Sadomasachristians. That isn't sexist, disrespectful of women, dishonoring of women, that isn't enslaving of women, that isn't greedy and vengeful and jealous, because that's pretty much all I had been shown. And so some of the reasons that I have had that much trouble is, like, first off, my grandfather, my rightful grandfather on my father's side, had died before my dad was 2. He was in the background there, but the foreground had been taken so much by these grandfathers, like the one that I was raised with, who was he wasn't horrible, I don't think, but he was an accountant and focused on money and having to work hard and kind of weird, creepy in a sense. And then when I was like 12, I remember going to a birthday party, a Christmas thing. It was Christmas. And this guy I was dating, his grandfather was having all the girls sit on his lap, and told him that if they sat on Santa Claus's lap, their boobs would grow. And my grandfather on my mother's side was very sexist. He didn't let the girls do certain things that the boys could do, and so very much, and the woman's place was, my grandmother's place was, in the kitchen and taking care of kids, and definitely treated as there were 2 separate roles. Then I was molested when I was 12 by an elder male that was grandfather age to me at church. A janitor grabbed me. Well, I was hugging him like I always did, and he grabbed me by the pussy, and he grabbed me by the tit, and he stuck his tongue in my mouth. That's the first time I tasted tobacco. And then as I've been on these travels, and I'm in a 50-year-old body, I guess, so all of these creepy old men that have lured me into places and then got really, really pissed when I wouldn't fuck them. You know the type. Most of them are into, they really admire Hugh Hefner. So they've got that Hugh Hefner complex of wanting a younger woman. Sexualizing women. But then I met Stoney. And Stoney Bourke of Bluff, New Zealand, is a Waitaha elder. And when I walked in his house, he told me I was in charge. And I really didn't know how to be in charge. Didn't even realize that. And he showed me a major example of what that looked like. To have a strong, loving, supportive, nurturing, funny, empowering, healthy grandfather in my life. And so, but I still, man, I've been so resistant to not really resistant, just I left it alone. I just left it alone, as far as in my prayers and listening to it all, or working on a relationship with outside of Stoney. And that's challenging to stay in touch with Stoney because as a renunciate up until this point, I've not had much in the way of actual money, and it costs money to call Stoney. Every time I get some on my card, I do add minutes to my ability to be able to call him, and I do. I've nurtured that relationship and maintained it. And this last full moon, I had been gifted a $2 bill by a rainbow grandfather in the rainbow family in 2013. And he had told me that if I kept it, I would always have abundance. And that $2 bill had made quite a travel with one of my partners and come back to me. And we were out of tobacco, me and my daughter. I had quit smoking for about 2.5 months, and I had started back with her, and she was out of tobacco, and so I used that $2 bill, but I used it consciously, and I said, "Grandfather, I'm gonna use this for tobacco. I know that's how you come. It's one of your medicines in the form I currently can, and from here on out, I'm gonna work on a relationship with you." And I called in healthy grandfather energy because I realized that I really need that. My grandsons are missing that. Myself, I'm missing that. And this immediate, presence hit and came through, and all the grief over the loss of that presence came through to process. And I got a real sense of my grandfather, which I had touched before on my journey through New Iberia, where my grandfather was raised and grew up. And it was so powerful and beautiful. And I pledged that whenever abundance came, I would give him credit. And that's how I'm experiencing it, is the grandfather is that a material, the money. But when the grandfather is healthy, it's not this having to earn it to get it. Not in the sense that that this patriarchal religion stuff and puts out that put out or get out mentality. And what I asked for when my phone, the keyboard went out, and instead of, I prayed to grandfather. I talked to grandfather, and I asked for it not just for a phone. I asked for a phone that came without sacrifice, and I can't ask for it to come without being from lack, and asking that it be brought through someone else's excess. And we've got so much excess stuff in this world. I don't want to contribute myself to more of that. I've renounced personal ownership of material possessions and money and all of those kinds of things. Personal ownership and property. And so, and this phone isn't just for me. My daughter needs me to have a phone for her to get in touch with me when I'm keeping these babies. And so, it's not just for me. That was my first work through. And then how it shows up was the other, and that was like through abundance and given with joy. No martyrdom attached to it, no sacrifice attached to it. And it showed up. Recently I also had a conversation, I guess, or like a yelling match almost, with someone, and they accused me of opening a portal at a festival and nasty stuff coming through. And at that portal there was a ceremony that was going on of grandfathers, and I opened up a feminine portal near it, and yeah, all kinds of icky stuff came out that was there and being pumped into the collective through that grandfather portal. And the portal that we opened processed that through, and it was a lot of nasty, deep emotional stuff. And this person accused it of being because of me, but it wasn't because of me. It was just there. And had I been given the opportunity to mitigate that and soothe it as the feminine, it wouldn't have caused the harm that I've been told it did. I was effectively shut out. But we did bring through healthy energy, got it to a 0 point. And yeah, I haven't had the animosity towards the sick grandfather, just compassion for it. And I've loved, I found, just like with the feminine, we have to love it in all of its forms. And I've had some interesting engagement as this has come through. I've met ones that were abusers and listened to their stories and been able to see how they were hurt, and although not tolerating their abuse, not being silent about their abuse, I've also been able to love that form. The hating it isn't going to get it gone. And now that I have this internally and a model in my life on the exterior, it feels complete. And I'm renegotiating my contract because I had made a contract that I was willing to go anywhere and do anything to not be who and what I was anymore, and I'm not. Like, I'm not. And that feels done now. That contract of harshness and refinement. And I can say there's a place for that. I guess, like, at least there was a place for that. There was. And, but now, it's not necessary. And, I don't need to learn like that. So I'm reworking my contract with Grandfather, and Grandfather helps me focus, and I'm gonna love Grandfather in this form as well, and mitigate that as time goes on, as the relationship resolves. I hope that it comes, I wish that it comes to me in the form of rape, because it does help me focus and stay in the conversation and not go flighty. That's the Grandfather tobacco medicine. It also is the Grandfather peyote medicine, a great way to use that to be focused. But focused on something that is healthy and beneficial, and making sure that we temper that with the feminine gentleness. Grandfather on his own is kind of harsh, so that's because he's not in love. If he's not matched with his feminine counterpart. So that's what's come through today, and I don't know if I'll post this one because it may get refined, but at least I've followed direction to begin the process. And that's something that I want to end with, is we don't have to live to see the end of this in order to live for beginnings, and live in beginnings. And it's all a continual refining process. And today I'm gonna have a good day and work with Grandfather some more. So, loving you, peace, and aloha. Rose out.